What is up, everybody out there in HeroClix Land? This once again is Scott Porter back for a brand new HeroClix unboxing series, this time for a set based around the marvelous mutant saga, 10 of Swords. That's right. This event was incredible. Crafted by Jonathan Hickman, one of the greatest world builders in all of comics, and I gotta tell you, I am so stoked for this particular set. We get to open a whole brick of 10 of Swords. We get to open 10 boosters and not just open them 2 months early. Today is June 3rd when I am filming this. The set is scheduled to release on August 3rd, with pre-releases happening somewhere around July 27th. So this is a 2-month lead time that you guys are getting to see this incredible set. The contents of which are going to be massive. There are so many characters that fit into this one giant mutant crossover storyline event. It's really based around Apocalypse and his quest to find his original 4 horsemen, his children. It also is centered around Betsy Braddock and Saturnine and Otherworld. It is also set around a brand new world called Amenth and an island contained within it called Arakko, which happens to be part or half of the original island of Okara. The other half, Krakoa. Krakoa, where all of the mutants in the Marvel universe are living currently at the beginning of this story. That's right. If you haven't been reading Hickman's X-Men with House of X and Powers of 10, then, oh man, they use X in so many different ways. 10 of Swords, House of X, Powers of 10. If you didn't read that book, then you might not know that all the mutants are living together. Mutants can now be resurrected. Mutants have been pardoned, and every mutant is invited to come live on Krakoa. We find out through the books that follow House of X and Powers of 10, called the Dawn of X era, we find out that Krakoa had a partner, had another half. There was this massive mutant continent, Okara. It was split asunder by an enemy wielding a twilight sword. When it was split in half, Amenth and the demons held within this demon world flooded into Earth. The only way to save Earth was to send a force down into Amenth and then plug the portal. The island of Arakko did that, and all of those contained within, including Apocalypse's wife, who we find out, Genesis, and his 4 children. The 4 horsemen of war, the original ones. You've got war, death, pestilence, and famine. They all went through, and they sent Apocalypse back to Earth to find the strongest that they had on Earth, to sharpen the warriors of Earth. And that's why survival of the fittest has been Apocalypse's thing. All this storyline is contained within this awesome story, right? 10 of Swords. Now, it's not just written by Hickman. You also have a lot of other really incredible authors in here. Like I said, it spans a lot of different books. It spans X-Men, which is really a word that's not used anymore in mutantdom. This is really a mutant story. Dawn of X is actually a mutant story. They don't say the words X-Men leading up to this. They don't have an X-team. But it also deals with Excalibur and Betsy Braddock and her team. So it is a sprawling story, and it is worth reading. Now, if you're interested in jumping into 10 of Swords, I would say read the first 12 issues of X-Men, read the first 12 issues of Excalibur in the Dawn of X. I would also say X-Factor's probably something to read. To a lesser degree, Hellions, which is Mr. Sinister's book, which is just incredible. So the amount of characters that can be in this set is just going to blow your mind. Because not only do we have the mutants that we know and love, we have the swords from the opposite side, the opposing faction of Arakko. We also have Otherworld, Saturnine, and all of the beings that live there that influence this particular storyline, this contest of swords. So that is what the story kind of is basically about. We'll get way more into it. You know that's how we do it here. But we're going to open 2 boosters a day as well as something else. Dyson Tokens Pack, Play at Home Kit. We're going to talk about Legacy cards this week, and we're going to do it each and every day for 5 straight days, Monday through Friday. Let's take a look outside of the booster pack. Of course, you've got Wolverine on the front, and it's called 10 of Swords because, well, Krakoan side has 10 swords, and the Arakan side has 10 swords, and they are put in a battle, they think, to the death. You have the Muramasa blade here. Now, this is not the original Muramasa blade that Wolverine put a piece of his soul into. This is a twin Muramasa blade. There is another character named Solemn, who, is he on the outside of the box here? Let's turn this around here, and let's take a look. Out here we have, oh, those are horsemen. That's war and death. That's awesome. And then, whoa, one of the sub-themes is going to be Danger Room. If you guys remember before when we had Danger Room Sabretooth or Magneto, now it looks like we have Danger Room, who is that? Juggernaut, Apocalypse, Danger Room Mystique? What? We're getting a Danger Room boost? I did not expect that in this set. Over here, we have some sword bearers. These are sword bearers on the Krakoan side. You see Storm, who wields Skybreaker, the original sword and weapon of Wakanda. And that's a whole storyline in and of itself. You have Gorgon with his 2 swords, Godkiller and Godkiller and Grasscutter. There you go. And then you have Wolverine again there on the side. Also underneath that, you have Sword itself. That is an ongoing that happens after 10 of Swords. So I thought we'd only be doing what's a part of the event. It looks like we're pushing a little bit further out of 10 of Swords into a new phase of Hickman's X-Men era called the Reign of X. And on the back here, we have one of the Arakan sword bearers. That is the White Blade. And man, is he insane. The idea is that he's a healer, right? He's an original Arakan, and he is a healer who is also a resurrector. So as enemies fall to his blade, he will resurrect them and make them a part of his army. His army is 100 strong, and he can raise them again every single day. So when they first went into Amenth, this demon world, and Arakko was trying to fend off all of these enemies, he led his army off by itself and actually created his own citadel way, way, way far into Amenth. And every day they wake up, and every day they go kill as much as they can, and every day they come back, and whoever dies he re-raises, and then they party and drink to their heart's content, and then they all go to bed and wake up and do it again the next day. That's what they do, and that's who's on the back of that box. Now, usually on the back of the box, we see chases. So I hope the chases are not all Arakan sword bearers, because we're getting a lot of those people for the first time. So fingers crossed. All right. I think that's about covering it. Now, the other thing about this particular set that's different than most others is we will not probably be seeing everything that's a part of this set within these boosters, because the 10 of Swords booster set goes into the 10 of Swords organized play event. That means for 3 months, starting in August, somewhere in the mid-20s of August, you will have an organized play event that's also based on this, that will have boosters itself, that will have other parts of this set held within it. So I am expecting swords in here. I am expecting equipment. I am expecting tarot cards in here. That's a brand new game element. And I'm expecting a ton of mutant goodness. I'm talking sword bearers on Krakoa's side, sword bearers on Arakko's side, Saturnine, and all of the craziness that happens in her fair and foul kingdoms of Otherworld. So without further ado, let's get started here. I think I said it earlier, we will be opening 2 boosters every day. Oh man, this is like Christmas morning. I absolutely love it. And today we will also open the Dice and Tokens pack. So without further ado, let's get unboxing. I know I talked a lot in the beginning. This story, guys, is crazy. It's X-Men with a fantasy bent. It's all about Mutantkind. It's all about really about family and about reuniting with family. It's Apocalypse's great quest. But what's so exciting in this particular series is where it leaves everyone coming out of it. You know, this is really Betsy Braddock's quest for her identity. She's not Captain Britain yet, and so it's just a ton of things. All right, let's see our first booster here. All right. Oh, we got Pyro, with his ridiculous face tattoo. We have Bishop. Woo. Okay. Now, Bishop's not really involved in this particular storyline, but coming out of the other side of it, he does become a great captain of Krakoa. We have Danger Room Mystique. I'm very excited to see these Danger Room pieces are used an awful lot in casual and competitive play, so I'm very excited to see what she brings to the table. Oh my gosh, yes! We have the Fury. Oh man, we got to get into that. And then we have the main man himself, Cyclops, Scott Summers. Really, really exciting stuff happens for Cyclops on the other side of this storyline as well. So let me pull these guys back here and see who we want to open first. Oh man, not open, but look at their card first. Let's start with Pyro because he's also the Play at Home set. So we'll take a look at him first. Pyro is a member of a team called the Marauders, and that's led by Kate Pryde, and they really go out into the world and try and pick up mutants who are stranded, who can't get back to Krakoa or live in areas where mutant hatred is still very high. And so they're kind of like a search and rescue team for mutants out in the world. And you can see his face tattoo there, which is hilarious to me. That he actually did that to himself. But we'll take a look at his card here. He is set number 39, Brotherhood of Mutants, Marauders, X-Men, and Pirate. Keywords. Pirate is getting a lot of play nowadays. He's got a trait, Any Way You Want It, Love. When Pyro clears action tokens, you may generate a flame construct within range and line of fire. They can have a max of 3 of them on the board. You can see the flame construct down there. Woo, look at that. It's got some poison, super senses, some exploit weakness there. Flip the card over, you can see the back. It's got longevity there, 6 clicks long is 50 points. And you can see, yeah, that picture there. After an extremely difficult time that Marauders had out and about with Kate Pryde and the rest of them, they took refuge in this tattoo parlor, and he got a skull tattooed on his face, and now it's on a HeroClix, so that's, that's pretty great. Next but not least, let's go with Bishop. So Bishop has been a part of X-Force within the days of Dawn of X, as well as some other storylines. But Bishop here, you can see a little bit of a different costume. He's been through a lot of shifts throughout the years, but on Krakoa, they have a government called the Quiet Council. There are 12 seats, and that's where you've got your Magnetos, your Professor X's, your Black Kings, and White Queens. And then you have the captains. Cyclops was one until the end of Ten of Swords. Bishop took his place as a great captain of the island. They are in charge of military response and safety of all of the political Quiet Council. So Bishop plays a bigger part after Ten of Swords than he did before. And I think we can see that here on his card. He's got Hellfire Club, Marauders, X-Force, X-Men, Detective, Future, Pirate, and Police. A ton of keywords. Set number 30. He's got a trait, Great Captain of Krakoa, Leadership. When Bishop uses it and succeeds, this turn friendly characters that have the X-Men team ability, they can use it as free. And you can see down here in the corner, the team ability and what it allows you to do. It choose an adjacent friendly character that can use this team ability and heal that character, 1 click, and roll a d6. On a roll of 1 to 4, the character that healed the other one is dealt 1 unavoidable damage. You have another trait. You've taken your best shot. Now it's my turn. Free. If Bishop took damage since your last turn, heal him 1 click. And this turn, he can use Ranged Combat Expert. So you get a little bump on your attack and your damage there if he takes a shot. He is 7 clicks long. He can be played at 80 or 35. He has 2 team abilities. That is pretty useful there. I like him. I like him. It is interesting, though. Pyro and Bishop, not very involved in Ten of Swords. They're more peripheral, and they are more involved in the lead-up from Dawn of X. And on the back side of Ten of Swords, you have something called Reign of X. And R-E-I-G-N, not R-A-I-N, although it does involve Storm pretty heavily. Anyway, I see what you did there, Hickman. I see what you did there. Let's go with Mystique next in this Danger Room figure, this construct here. The constructs are really, really unique in the way that they play. A ton of survivability. I'm actually going to hold her over there. There you go. That's a much better look. Oh, yeah. Take a peek at that. That's really, really cool. Here we go. We've got Brotherhood of Mutants and robot keywords. Danger Room construct, trait. When Mystique makes an attack, give her an error token for each one in the attack roll for a maximum of 3. If Mystique has 2 or less error tokens, characters take a maximum of 1 damage from Mystique's attacks. Mystique takes a maximum of 1 damage from opponents' attacks, and she can't be healed or chosen for Mastermind. Protected, Pulse Wave. Another trait, lessons from the Danger Room, Mystique. When Mystique is KO'd by an opposing character this game, when that character makes an attack, other characters can't use Shape Change. So if you defeat the construct, you win a little lesson, or you learn a little lesson, and you win a little bit of power there. You can look at the back. There's Shape Change and Super Senses on those first 2 clicks. Definitely has survivability here. And then they can start doing more damage. Well, not her. She's only dealing 1 click anyway. But they can start dealing more damage. Well, on that final click, she's got blades. But yeah, until they get these error tokens on their card. The difficult thing is you can only do 1 click of damage to them, and that's really, really tricky to get around. I wonder how many we're going to have in this set. I wonder if you're going to be able to actually build a full team of Danger Room constructs. That would be a lot of fun. Okay, I'm going to put her over there. I'm going to put Pyro over here because he's a hero now. I mean, I guess everybody are heroes. Like I said with Krakoa, all past crimes have been pardoned. It's all about all mutants coming together into one society and standing firm against humanity and all of the horrid things that have happened to the mutant population over time. So it's really all about them standing together. Let's look at the Fury. The Fury is super interesting. And kind of a creation by the Allens, Alan Moore and Alan Davis, a long time ago when Marvel tried to do a big push into Britain and into Europe and make comics specifically for Europe and Britain to get Marvel to take off over there. This character of the Fury was originally created in a Captain Britain story, and it was created in, I think, Earth 238 by a man called Mad Jim Jaspers. And it was created with the desire to, or the design to kill every hero on Earth. Okay, let's look at the back of the card here. You've got Running Shot, you've got Psychic Blast, you've got some damage reducers. So you look at me and you say, well, that doesn't sound very powerful for what you just explained to me as what the character originally is. Well, yes, the original character was just one, the Fury, and it killed every single hero, and it's programmed. I think it's, what is it called? Does it say it on the card? Yes, Symbiote. It was programmed to kill everything except Mad Jim Jaspers in that particular universe. And the story where you first saw the Fury was really our Captain Britain from our Earth being groomed by Merlin and Roma and Saturnine, who were all in charge of the Captain Britain Corps and keeping the Omniverse safe. They're the kind of omniversal overseers and defenders, I guess. Saturnine is the Magistrix now. That's a title that used to belong to Merlin, but they saw that this one particular planet, because heroes always happen on every Earth. There is a tipping point. There is a push. And we know this because of the Celestials and other stories. But way back in the 80s, Alan Moore even would talk about this idea that every Earth, superheroes would appear at some point. And if the heroes weren't appearing, they would go into that Earth, the Omniversal Council, and they would give it a push and make sure the heroes appeared. But in 238, that never happened. So they went in to try to give it a push. And they found the Fury. They sent Captain Britain in. Captain Britain ended up perishing, getting resurrected. This whole thing happened. The Fury breaks through the Omniverse. And we had to deal with the Mad Jim Jaspers on our Earth as well. Mad Jim Jaspers is now a part of one of the kingdoms of Otherworld, the Crooked Market. He runs the Crooked Market, which is one of the foul kingdoms of Otherworld. And that Fury right there, now there are many of them. And they have their own place where they live in Otherworld. And they have in Fury, the Everforge within where they live as well, where they can forge these infinite weapons. So the original Fury is not like those guys, they are now a society, a colony of them. They're a little bit changed now, but if you can find it, go back and read that story where Mad Jim Jaspers first appears and Alan Moore and Alan Davis do their take on Captain Britain. It's really, really cool. So the Fury, they're a little bit more updated. There are many of them, but they live in one of the kingdoms of Otherworld. And there are, I think, 12 kingdoms of Otherworld, and we'll get further into that in a little bit. But yeah, this, I'm telling you guys, Ten of Swords is sprawling, because once you follow Excalibur into Otherworld, you have just all these brand new lands. It's kind of reminiscent of Secret Wars, where you had Battleworld and all of these new places to explore and all these interesting characters. In Otherworld, you have where the Sevalith live, where it's a vampire society. You have Roma Regina, which is where Roma rules, and that's an upside down place. So every time a character walks into it, they flip upside down for a couple of panels, and you have to read their dialogue upside down. Merlin runs the Kingdom of Fae. You have Avalon, which now has Jamie Braddock, the crazy reality warping Jamie Braddock, on the throne thanks to Apocalypse. So there are a lot of lands, a lot of things to learn about that particular place, Otherworld, and its significance is protecting every single planet. It's basically the doorway to Otherworld on almost every Earth is through the lighthouse, the Braddock family lighthouse in Britain. And once you get in there, you can go find a place called the Starlight Citadel, where Saturnine sits and resides over the Omniverse. But the problem is that you can get to any universe that way. You can go through many doorways in the Starlight Citadel, and you can end up in another universe. So she has to protect it. Saturnine has to protect all of these doorways so that a great evil doesn't flood through into the entire Omniverse and kill everything. So that's why the Captain Britain Corps was around for a long time. The Captain Britain Corps in Secret Wars and Battleworld were killed off. So Opaluna Saturnine no longer has her Captain Britain Corps. And that is something that's addressed in this as well. I'm telling you, a ton of storylines, guys, and it's awesome. All right, let's look at Cyclops. Cyclops at this time in the mutant world is a great captain of Krakoa. He makes sure that Magneto and Professor X stay safe. He makes sure if there's a response needed that is military in nature, that he's the one that leads the charge. This particular Cyclops is set number 13. He is a great captain. He has a shared trait with Bishop that we saw. Great captain leadership, and Cyclops uses it and succeeds. This turn, friendly characters that have the X-Men team ability may use it as free. That's a pretty cool shared trait there. You have a lot of leadership opportunities, a lot of healing opportunities, and if you hit some 5 and 6s, you can keep your team healthy. You look at the back there, pretty basic, running shot, range combat expert. I want a Cyclops here where he really opens up. He does so in the comic books. Woo! Oh man. Jean Grey looks at him and says, "Scott, don't hold back, dear." And he unleashes on a bunch of demons from Amenth toward the end of this story. And I want that. I want to see that massively powerful Cyclops. I feel like I'm all over the place right now, guys, because there's just so much to talk about. And there's no way to really consolidate the storyline down except to say what I said earlier, where you have, Apocalypse on this family journey to recover his children and therefore recover Krakoa's old partner. So Krakoa is invested. Apocalypse is invested. You have Betsy Braddock in the pages of Excalibur following Apocalypse because she has not been invited to the Starlight Citadel by Saturnine. She picked up the Amulet of Right because the way you become Captain Britain is you're given a choice, usually by Merlin or now Saturnine, to pick up the Sword of Might or the Amulet of Right. And when you pick up the Amulet of Right, you are chosen to become a member of the Captain Britain Corps. You are seen as worthy. If you pick up the Sword of Might, that is seen as a selfish act, whereas the Amulet of Right is seen as a very generous act and a noble act. She picked up the Amulet of Right. Betsy Braddock, who is now separated, in case you missed it, from Quanon, who a lot of people knew Psylocke. Betsy Braddock in a ninja's body, they are now separated. Quanon is her own character, and Betsy Braddock is back to being the pink-haired British lady. And so she is now Captain Britain. But nobody is recognizing her as such. So it's a story about her trying to go home, in a sense, to the headquarters of the Captain Britain Corps. So it's about a lot of people trying to go home and find their place in a new world. And, oh, whoa, okay, haha, we got, oh, a super rare that I did not expect to see here, and we got our first tarot card. This is brand new for this set, so here we go. We've got, here, we'll take them out of the pack and we'll put them up closer. We've got a swordsman on the Krakoan side, and that, yes, is Cypher. Why is Cypher a swordsman? I'll tell you in a little bit. We also have, my main man, Iceman. He's not really involved in this storyline either, so I'm starting to see a bunch of characters that aren't truly involved in the storyline itself, but are still important in the mutant titles, and it's interesting to me, the character selection. We've got Gorgon. We've got a second Gorgon. One's uncommon and one's common. So there we go. We got them in the same pack. And then we've got our super rare, our first super rare, Deadpool. Deadpool in a ducky swimmer waist thing. He's got a little goggles and snorkel. Oh my gosh, what is going on here? And we got our first tarot card. So what happens in Ten of Swords and why the tarot cards are important is Arakko is sick of being an Amenth, and they want a new world of their own. They want to conquer something. They've been waiting for Apocalypse for countless millennia to return with forces to defeat all the evil on Amenth and be able to make Arakko a safe place to live, because all they've known is war ever since they've gone through this portal. Well, they end up crashing into Otherworld. They end up going to this kingdom of Dryador, this kingdom of fish people, and they, I think they say the waters run red, their children have been boiled. Like, I mean, Arakko goes in and completely murders everything in Dryador, and they claim this kingdom as their own, and they become a part of Otherworld. And when that happens, Saturnine looks out and says, we are in trouble. We have a new person sitting on the throne in Avalon because Apocalypse put a reality warping mutant, Jamie Braddock, on the throne there. We have a feud going on between father and daughter, the heads of two kingdoms with Merlin and Roma. We have vampires. We have symbiote enemies. We have all of these things happening in all these kingdoms in Otherworld, and I have no way to protect the Starlight Citadel any longer. So she sends some of her priestesses out into the multiverse, and they find this magical being. They bring it back. She forces it down into, all because magic, forces it down into this energy, and then out of it come this deck of tarot cards. And through that, she sees a way to protect the Omniverse. And that's really why the Ten of Swords, why the competition of the Ten of Swords begins. Apocalypse just wants to go see his family, but in order to do that, she gets in his way and says, no, if you want, Arakko, if you want to meet these people, you want to see these people, if you want to save your Earth, basically, because what Arakko wants to do is take over all of Otherworld and then charge into our Earth and then kill everything on our Earth. They want to do to us what they did to Dryador. And so at the end of the day, the mutants have to stand up, and the way that it happens is through this contest that is spelled out by the tarot cards that Saturnine has. So you might want to know, why are there tarot cards in my HeroClix boosters? That's why. Okay, let's start with the Gorgons, I guess. We'll put them both out here at the same time. We have Gorgon Common, which is set number 14, and we have Gorgon Uncommon, which is set number 22. I'll show you the sculpt real quick. You can see Grasscutter and Godkiller there. Now, if you're not familiar with Gorgon, you need to go read Jonathan Hickman's Secret Warriors. That is some of the most seminal Gorgon work you will ever read, and Secret Warriors is awesome and so worth the read. Okay, starting with the common. He has Aim, Hydra, The Hand, X-Men, Assassin, and Martial Artists. Has a trait Swordbreaker. This character starts the game with any sword equipment equipped. Any sword, it says. It doesn't have to be Grasscutter or Godkiller. That's really interesting to me. We'll look at the back here. Pretty simple dial. No bells and whistles. But the uncommon has its own trait. Now, the uncommon is X-Men, Assassin, and Martial Artist. So, obviously, the common is pre-Krakoa. This Gorgon is post-Krakoa and Dawn of X, where he is on the island. Swordbreaker and Great Captain of Krakoa, which we have already seen. Leadership, when Gorgon uses and succeeds this turn, friendly characters that have the X-Men team ability may use it as free. Flip it over. You can see the differences there. A lot of willpower. On the second, on the uncommon version, you have some outwit. On the common version, so definitely different skill sets. Now, the way that Gorgon comes to have two swords, because each of the two sides, Arakko and Krakoa, they have to have 10 swords. So Arakko has 10 sword bearers, each having one sword. Krakoa has 9 sword bearers, and at first you think, oh, but they do have 10 swords because of Gorgon, but does that mean he has to fight twice? How does that work? There's something that happens much later that ends up explaining how they still have 10 sword bearers. We just don't see the 10th sword bearer yet. But the way he gets Grass Killer and, or God Cutter, wait, Grass Cutter and God Killer, jeez, I can't say them. Oh, the way he gets God Killer is he battles Phobos in Secret Warriors, basically to the death. And these two swords have been at war for eons because God Killer was forged for a Greek god, and Grass Cutter was forged for a Japanese god. And these two mythological gods had battled each other for a very long time. That's how these swords came into existence. Gorgon came to have Grass Cutter, and Phobos came to have God Killer, and they battled. And, well, Gorgon won, and that's how he has these two swords. Secret Warriors, go read it. I mean, it's all Hickman stuff is great, so go read it. Very, very interesting. Okay, let's go with my main man next. He's not really involved in the event all that much, but Iceman, you know, anytime we get an Iceman, you know I'm going to pump it up. This one's different. Doesn't have translucence to it really at all. That is just a really cool color blue that is on the outside. Let's see what Bobby's got going on. Set number 12, Champions, Defenders, and X-Men. He's got a special attack power, Got Cold Feet. When Iceman hits, each hit character modifies their speed by -2 until your next turn. He does have 2 targets, so that's awesome. Slow down your opponents. Look at the back there, he got some running shot. He's got an 11 attack, energy shield deflection, try and avoid some things at range. Bobby is a member of the Marauders in Dawn of X. He rides around with Kate Pryde, and they ride around on a ship because Kate can't go back to Krakoa for some reason through the Krakoan gates. Now, how that happens is Krakoa has these little flowers, and people, mutants have gone all over the world and planted them everywhere, and those are Krakoan gates. Only mutants can go through them, and you can basically go anywhere. The way that our mutants end up on Otherworld is to build this giant external gate in the middle of a volcano at the tip end of Krakoa, and that creates a gate so that they can go freely in and out of Otherworld to start the story off. And that's a big part of Excalibur leading in, is how do they create a gate that can lead to Otherworld. And but Kate Bishop, for some reason, not Kate Bishop, Kate Pryde, for some reason, can't go through those gates to go back to Krakoa. So she sails the world in this giant pirate ship, and she has her team. It's Iceman, it's Pyro, Storm is a part of that. There are some other characters, Emma Frost, and Kate Pryde, who becomes the Red Queen. That is her ship, so that's how she goes around the world. So it's the only reason I could think of a tie-in here at all, but he didn't even have Marauders, so I'm not sure where this Iceman came from, but moving on. Cypher, okay, here we go. We have one of our 10 sword bearers from Krakoa here, Cypher. Now, Cypher is very interesting in the world of X-Men because he is, through his mutant power, the voice of Krakoa. He's the only one that can understand what Krakoa says. He has a seat on the Quiet Council, as you can see by his keywords: Hellions, New Mutants, Quiet Council, X-Factor, X-Force, and X-Men. And you might look at his arm and say, well, he doesn't have a gold arm. He doesn't have a metal arm. He does. That is actually Warlock. Warlock coats that arm and becomes the Warlock sword so that Doug Ramsey can compete in the 10 of Swords. He has the Sword Bearer trait. This character starts the game with any sword equipment equipped, which is awesome that we're going to get Warlock as a sword at some point. And he has omnilingual translation, He has a special damage power that gives him Empower and Enhancement. Let's flip him over here. 4 clicks long, 2 damage with that special attack, only 25 points. So Empower and Enhancement for 25 points for the entire dial. Now, I don't know what the Warlock Sword is going to do. I was hoping we would have gotten a sword with him, but we didn't. But yeah, Cypher is one of the 10 sword bearers. You have Cable, Cypher, Gorgon, Magic with her sword that she always has, her soul sword. You have Apocalypse, of course. You have Captain Britain, Captain Avalon, who is the new moniker of Brian Braddock, who has the Sword of Might, and a couple of others. So I'm hoping we pull some more of those guys. Wolverine is one of the 10, of course. So yeah, pretty interesting. Storm with Skybreaker with the Wakandan sword. So hopefully we pull some more sword bearers. Last but not least, our first super rare of the set, and it is Deadpool. And if I am correct, one of the bigger events that happened in X-Men was the Hellfire Gala, where they announced a new team of X-Men, and Deadpool, who, spoiler alert, if you don't know, is not a mutant, has not been allowed really on Krakoa. Even though he's done a ton with mutants, he's not really allowed there, and he did not get an invitation to the Hellfire Gala, so he shows up in this ridiculous costume here. So I don't know if he's whale hunting. He's got a harpoon gun there. He's got his little rubber ducky on. Anyway, interesting that this is a super rare in this set. You've got Deadpool, Core, Weapon X, X-Men, and Pirate, which will fit in with Marauders pretty well at least. Wade Wilson, he's got floaties for everyone. Adjacent friendly characters have the dolphin symbol. He also has a trait, My Healing Factor is mostly battling sunburn. At the end of your turn, heal Deadpool, 1 click. Also has a special movement power, and you can see the dolphin symbol there. What part of pool didn't you understand? He has phasing and teleport. He can generate up to 4 water terrain markers in squares within range and line of fire. And at the beginning of your next turn, even if lost, remove them. On the back here, you can see he's only 4 clicks long. He's only 40 points. This is one of the smaller pointed Deadpools that we have ever gotten. You can see he's a team player there. He's a wild card. He's got some Perplex. And yeah, that's that. An interesting choice for our first super rare in the set. I'm going to put him over here because he's questionable. Yeah, Deadpool, not super involved in this storyline, but interesting nonetheless. I really thought that this set would be based around 10 of Swords. But now that I'm thinking about it, the organized play is probably going to have only 10 of Swords storyline stuff within it. So this is probably a really cool way to fill us out and sate us for some of the mutant stories they know have happened just past 10 of Swords, because by the next time we get mutants in HeroClix form, I mean, we'll be a couple of storylines beyond this already. So I do think it's cool. They're giving us Sword. They're giving us some of the new books that started after 10 of Swords was done within the actual booster set that we have here. The organized play event, I would probably think is going to be more 10 of Swords based. Okay, last but not least, we've got our tarot card of the day, Queen of Cups. The Queen of Cups. Characters take a maximum of 2 damage from attacks. So how tarot cards work, just so everybody knows, if you've been under a rock and you know what tarot cards do, there are 4 suits. There are cups, swords, pentacles, and cups, swords, pentacles, and there's one more. There's one more suit. And then there is a 5th faction of cards called Major Arcana. And the Major Arcana are basically kind of like battlefield effects. And what happens is you form a deck of 5 up to 12 and anywhere there in between, where you have 1 of each suit of cards and 1 Major Arcana for a deck of 5, and up to 2 of each suit and 4 Major Arcana to get to a deck of 12. And you shuffle them up, you set them to the side of the map, and each turn of yours, you pull one and place it on the board. This one is characters take a maximum of 2 damage from attacks, and that will be until your next turn when you will pull a new card and place it into play. So much like the randomness of 10 of Swords, this adds to the randomness of a HeroClix game. Now, in 10 of Swords, you might think, hey, you've got sword fights, right? It's all fights to the death, and the stakes are raised pretty high because even though mutants can be resurrected on Krakoa through the resurrection protocols, if you die in Otherworld, which we saw with a character named Rockslide, Santo, rest in peace, he was cleaved in two by a character named Summoner in Otherworld, and when they tried to resurrect him in Krakoa, he came back all broken and wrong. And apparently what happened is you have access to all of the rock slides when you are in Otherworld, and how you get resurrected in Krakoa is basically a psychic backup or imprint of you before your death is saved to Cerebro, anywhere in our galaxy, basically anywhere in our universe. We don't know the extent of how far out you can die, but if you're in the 616 Marvel universe, you die, there's a mental backup that is there, and they can put you in a new husk and an egg and basically grow you anew, and when you come out, you'll have your memories up to the moment you died. But in Otherworld, they grab a Rockslide from somewhere else in the Omniverse, and Rockslide came back wrong. So when the Krakoan sword fighters go over to Otherworld to battle in this duel to the death, they know that they may never come back. But it's not a bunch of sword fights. It's actually arm wrestling matches and puzzles and spelling bees, which Magic, she loses because she spells magic M-A-G-I-K, because that's how she spells her name, and she loses, and Arako gets a point. So it's really, really interesting. It's not actually a ton of sword fights. There are some. But there is randomness in Ten of Swords, and now we have randomness in the game of HeroClix, which I think is pretty cool. The last thing we're going to open today is actually our Dice and Tokens pack before we get out of here. I know it's been a longer video. They're going to be longer this week, guys. This storyline, everything contained therein is nutty, and there is so much going on. I'll try and contain myself. I'll try and keep it down to a minimum, but I think people over time have told me enough, whether in person or online, they really enjoy all the lore that goes behind all of these stories. And I got to tell you, if you're going to read a story that is based around a HeroClix set, not based around a HeroClix, but if you're going to read a story because of a HeroClix set you play with, this is the one to read. This is insane. I loved it. Absolutely loved it. Okay, we have the Dice and Tokens pack, and these dice are wicked. Here, take a look at them. The dice there, you can see two swords crossed over to make an X. That's really cool. That's your 6 for you. Okay. Some of the characters we have on the tokens. This is Solemn, a brand new character that we are introduced to in Ten of Swords. We'll talk more about him. Hopefully we'll pull him. We have Wolverine. Of course, these two guys right here, Solemn and Wolverine, both have a Muramasa blade. We have Magic with the Soul Sword. We have Captain Britain, or maybe she's not. We have Betsy Braddock with the Starlight Sword. We have Apocalypse, who has his sword Scarab. It's not pictured here. And we have Cable. Oh, Cable has the Sword of Galanor. Very, very cool. We'll talk about that if we ever pull Cable. You have the Captain Britain core on the back here. Oh, interesting. We have Jonathan on the back. That's Honey Badger's pet. So to have Jonathan in the set, very, very interesting. Ooh, we have a Nimrod. Huh! Oh no, Nimrod's in this set. We have a Flame Construct. That's awesome. That goes with the Pyro that we pulled today. We have a Killer Robot. Interesting. And we have a Demon. That looks like an Amenth Daemon to me. So somebody's going to be spawning those. I'm guessing Summoner probably will be in this set. So, okay, there we go. That's the Dice and Tokens pack. What I like about the Dice and Tokens pack is when you look at the back side of the tokens, you get a clue as to what is going to be in this set. And I'll tell you, Scout or Honey Badger, whatever name she's currently going by, Jonathan happens to be her pet. And she's in the Book of New Mutants, which is really, really a cool read because it shows what the youth of Krakoa is trying to do with their life. They're trying to find their place in a world that's already kind of established. You know, these mutants have been around forever, and these younger mutants don't know what to do. The Captain Britain core is interesting because as of the beginning of Ten of Swords, there is no Captain Britain core, so I wonder what that means. Anyway, we'll talk more about all the swords, talk more about the characters. I feel like we didn't even get to talk about a lot of the sword bearers or the main storyline of Ten of Swords because we had a bunch of random pulls today. What do I expect the rest of the week? I'm hoping for more Arakan characters for more Krakoan sword bearers. I'm hoping for some characters from Otherworld. I'm hoping that not all of the major players are chases, but I am already pretty excited about this set. I think what we're going to see is some more randomness throughout the rest of the week in these booster pulls, but then in the organized play event in August and September and October, it's going to be all 10 of Swords based. Anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed today. I want to know in the comments below, who was your favorite sword bearer in 10 of Swords? Who was your favorite sword bearer in 10 of Swords? Tell me in the comments below. I want to say thank you to WizKids for sending to this amazing brick to me a little bit early to share with you guys way ahead of time. I'm only seeing 9 figures up here. What did I drop one? Did I put someone down somewhere? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. No, I got it. 10 and 10. Okay. Anyway, I got to say thank you to WizKids for sending this brick our way. I got to say thank you to Hyper RPG. Knox is on the board today back there helping us out, flipping the camera so you guys get all the close-ups of all the juicy goodness that you want. And I got to say thank you to you guys for watching. Also, I got to play in a really cool event that was for charity at the beginning of May, and we raised over $27,000 for the Huntington's Disease Society of America. And this particular unboxing series is sponsored by one of our winners, Ryan Redmond. He's out there right now. He will be getting every single thing I pull in this unboxing series sent to him the day that the final episode airs. And he bid over $1,000 for what I'm pulling this week, and I gotta say thank you for your generosity, and thank you to everybody else who took place in the HeroClix for Huntington's event. We raised a lot of fantastic money for a very cool event that we're gonna be doing again next year in the beginning of May, so keep your eyes and ears open for that. So I gotta say thank you to Ryan. He asked me, how up to date am I on the X-Men books? I read in trades, so I've read up through the Hellfire Gala and a couple of stories beyond, but I am not current. So this is something I actually read about 1.5 years ago, and I couldn't help myself. That is one of the few things I read as it was releasing, and it was just such a cool run on 10 of Swords. So every day I'm going to answer a question by Ryan in this series, and I think that's going to do it. So I'll see you guys back here tomorrow for more HeroClix unboxing goodness. Tomorrow we'll do the play at home kit, 2 more boosters, and see what else we pull out of this particular set. Remember, the set is set to release July 27th. For the pre-release, the set is set to actually drop in your stores on August 3rd. So pre-release July 27th, actual release on August 3rd. Make sure you check in with your local gaming store or comic book shop because they deserve your patronage. I will see you guys tomorrow, and until I do, may all your rolls be critical hits.